Ethan, we are back with another how-to guide. We've got Andy from AK Tiling, aka Terry the Tiler, and today he's going to teach us how to grout a porcelain tile, a black marble porcelain tile. These are a little bit different than normal grouting in the tile because they're a bit bigger and they're shinier. So I think he's got some tips and tricks to show us on how to grout these tiles. Come hither. Here he is, he's on his knees as per usual, he's on his knees.
So, today we are going to be using the Mapai grout, the Kera colour. With dark colour grouts, it's always best to wear gloves. I struggle putting gloves on with my fingers, but everyone else, it's best to wear them because it can stain your skin. You want a tiny bit of water in the bottom of your bucket. You don't need a lot. So literally, you just pour it in.
You can always add, but you can't take away.
This is a squeegee. I use this to push the grout deep into the joints and pull off the excess, so it cleans off the excess with the edge as well. Mix it in, keep pushing it around the bucket, make sure it's all mixed thoroughly. You don't want it too dry and you don't want it too wet. Wet will drip down and pull out, and when you're wiping off it makes it harder because there's more water into it. So basically when it dries, say it will look full, the joint will look like it's got grout full, but really there's a lot of water in there. So when the water dries, it does make this grout sink a little bit. A little bit on the end, not too much. And then what I do, I squeeze it, push it into the ceiling using that motion. Pull a bit off. Don't worry about it going on the plaster, it all wipes off.
Is that why you've wet the plaster?
Yes, I wet the plaster so it doesn't soak in, so it's easier to clean off basically.
We're not actually grouting the whole bathroom right now. We're basically just grouting where Barney needs to be for tomorrow
morning.
He's going to be laying stuff on the wall. But usually you have like, it's like looks like a mop bucket, and it's basically got a roller on it and then the water. So you put it in the water and then you roll it on the roller and it takes off all the excess water, and that's when you can sponge up.
A lot of people don't grout the top joints. I do. I think it looks a lot smarter and nicer finish. So with this joint, make sure you push it in deep. So push them in. Don't worry about how much you're pushing, but make sure you just keep pushing it in deep. I don't pull it off across. I normally pull it at an angle.
When you grout it, it obviously seals it from any moisture and it keeps it from any flex of the wall behind it. It's a bit like when you put in two bricks together, pointing in, that's the same with the grout. You're keeping it tight, you're keeping it secure, and stopping any moisture coming through there, any water. Especially when you've got the shower on, you've got moisture in the room. If you can imagine, it's just going to penetrate straight through that. So that's why we grout.
And we'll be putting silicone down the edge. People don't grout down the edge. Oh, I think it's double layer barrier myself.
Also, when you're knocking your grout up, and say you're using, I don't know, a cream coloured grout, and you're putting it on your tile, and you think, oh no, that don't look like the colour it should do. It's going to dry. When it dries, it changes colour and it goes a little bit darker. Like this is what we done yesterday. You won't even see it on camera because it's gone the colour it needs to be, but it's blended right in now with the tile. That's what me and Andy were doing yesterday.
Just little samples.
Just little samples
to see if it was the right colour. If you get any on the bath, which is so easy to do, because it does fall in little bases, but it just wipes straight off. Take a couple of times with a darker grout. If it's a whiter grout or a paler grout, it'll be easier to clean up. But just keep wiping with your sponge. Hold it flat. Wipe. Keep dipping your sponge after each time. Push firmly on the ceiling, keeping it square so don't pull it out the joint. Always keep dipping your sponge because you see when I didn't. So like a fresh sponge, see how clean the difference. We've left it about 20 minutes now, so near enough dry. It's still tiny bit, but it's best to get the dust off before it dries too much, but it's not going to pull the grout out because the grout is near enough gone. Best way to do it is either you can use a bit of kitchen roll or a microfiber cloth. I prefer to use a microfiber cloth, it gives you a better finish. And all that's left on the tile, because it's high shine, the wipe off a lot easier than a matte tile. So basically all you do is rub flat, rub the dust off. Careful not to pull across. I wouldn't go across the joint just yet. I'd tend to go across like that. Stage, you could just put your finger in, just rub your finger along, just to smooth back out your grout. Sometimes it tends to sink a little bit in places, so you will need to be topping up with high shine, but majority, sometimes you don't.
How long after you've grouted, say you've grouted and then tomorrow we fit the shower, how long
I always leave it overnight, so I leave it 24 hours.
Until you can put water on it?
Yes.
Okay.
Let it dry completely overnight. So it's starting to change colour, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. So it's starting to dry out, so it does change colour as it dries.
Just levels it up again. It just changes it so much, that little bit of grout changes the whole lot and just makes the whole lot a little more finished.
Leave that out till the morning, but I've got the excess off, so at least it's not going to be hard graft in the morning. Another little wipe over, dry cloth. Job's a good one. Hope you've enjoyed how to grout.
So, because obviously you've switched the tile on and you've got a bit of
adhesive.
adhesive.
Basically, I use my knife. You have to be careful doing this because you basically clean the joints just like that. But say if I was coming down and I passed that joint,
you're gonna hit.
I can catch that tile, even though it's right. I can still catch the knife will catch, which could cause it to chip. So always go away from the joint, both ways. If there's anything on show, just take it out, get your knife flat, and just clean it out.
Wank out.
Yeah, but just be careful you don't slip with a knife.